Hello, hello. Happy October. It's finally here, folks. I thought it would be fun to start the month out with some easy pumpkin paintings. I'll work with you through the whole thing. Feel free to pause and play whenever you need to. Okay, let's go. First, I'll show you supplies. I kept it very simple, and you by no means have to have these exact tools, but I listed them in case you were curious. First, we'll talk about the paper. I'm using Artist Loft's 140-pound watercolor 6x9-inch paper. Then I like to tape down the paper to keep it flat and in place. When using watercolors, the water can warp the page sometimes, so taping it down helps. Next, I'll be using this metallic paint set that I got. It doesn't say the name or anything on it, and I got it as a gift, so I do apologize. But if I had to guess, I would say Amazon. You could probably find this or something similar to it. Next is the Winsor & Newton palette. I love this palette, as you can tell. It's the second time I've bought it, so those are the paints we're going to be using. Next is the trusty pencil and eraser. The pencil I'm using is a mechanical one. Again, I think you can buy this on Amazon. It is metal. You can really use any pencil that you'd like. Following up, we have two round brushes. The first one is a detail brush. It's very thin, and this is a size number 8. First, we'll be mixing yellow. I did 2 parts yellow, 1 part water. Just get a tiny little dab of red on the tip, and then another round of the yellow. I'm using 4 parts orange, I believe 2 parts water, and then 1 part yellow and a tiny bit of red just to bring some color back into it as well. Now I'll be testing the colors out. This is also a really great thing to get in the practice of doing. It just saves you a lot of time and trouble later, and it allows you to have more free space in your brain to, be more present with the painting that you're creating, which will in turn allow you to learn more and possibly do better. Next, we'll be focusing on this nice bronze color. I believe it's 4 parts brown or bronze, whichever one, 2 parts water, and then I do a tiny bit of purple. The reason I do purple is because the best way to darken up your colors is by looking at the color wheel and then choosing the color you want and then go straight across from it. And then whatever color is on straight across from it will darken it. You have to be careful to use just a little bit, otherwise it can really muddy up the colors and make them either like a weird gray or brown color. Next, we will be sketching out the outline. I am cheating and using a stencil for the circle, but I just wanted to get it for the sizing. Obviously, I'm not doing the best job at drawing the circle right now, but it's whatever. It's just going to be a really light sketch, so make sure that you just don't apply too much pressure. So with drawing, one of the really important things that I want to go more in depth on in another video is when you're trying to draw something, the first thing that you want to do is just find the biggest shapes. So example, for this one, I saw an oval / circle kind of thing, and that was the shape of the pumpkin, and I was able to kind of get an outline for that. And then I went in and just kind of drew a weird oval shape, a weird heart oval shape, I don't know. Basically, you just gonna do a little indent for the stem above. So for the first layer, I filled it in with just orange, yellow, and brown, and I just put the colors wherever I felt like they looked the best. For this, you're gonna wanna watch how much water you use and try to make sure they are completely dry in between layers as well. That's a huge tip for any beginners out there. Now we're going in for layer 2. This time I'm using a little less water because they've been sitting out for a few minutes. Kind of dried up a little bit, so that helped. I used a hairdryer in between to get the paper nice and dry. One of the ways that you can tell if it's dry is if there's no shininess to it and it doesn't feel cold at all. If it feels cold or cool, give it a little more time. But yeah, just wait until it's dry, or you can go and work on a different pumpkin. So for layer 2, we're pretty much doing the same thing. Since the colors have kind of been sitting out for a little bit while I prepared the rest of what I needed, I would just say if you need to mix more colors, just use one less part water, I guess. Or if it's just one part, use like half. We just want a little less water because we don't want them to bleed as much, but we still want them to bleed because they will give that really cool watercolory effect. That's a word, watercolory. Anyway, I used to be like really scared of trying the wet on wet technique. I just thought it would look bad. I didn't know where to put the colors until one day I realized just screw it. Honestly, put the colors wherever you'd like and don't be afraid to make mistakes. And that's why we're doing everything small so we don't waste a ton of paper or space on the paper. So if you need to try again, definitely go for it. I'm just adding a little bit of yellow to give it some highlight and some green to darken up some spots. Don't blend anything together unless that's the look that you're going for. Don't blend anything together. Just let it spread out how it wants to spread out. Now we're gonna go in for our third layer. So we want this to be partially wet. We don't want it to be like puddled water, but we still want it wet enough that they'll bleed in together and look nice. So I'm going in with the brown. We're starting at the bottom and I'm just gonna outline it and kind of bring that color up. I know it kind of looks choppy right now, but it will blend in soon. And then I'm doing the little ridges of the pumpkin. And I'm just going over again with some orange. Now we're going to take our green color and start to fill in the stem. And that is our first pumpkin. It looks so good. I'm so happy with it. Don't worry if yours didn't turn out well. The next two are going to be a lot easier and more fun cartoon Halloween style. I just wanted to show people how to paint to like a regular pumpkin as well. For our next pumpkin, we're going to keep our color super simple, like really simple. We're not going to really add any shadows or anything like that. We will have shadow colors, but for the most part, yellow, orange, green, brown, and black. So again, we're going to go in with the pencil and then really lightly shade in wherever we want the pumpkin. This time I was able to kind of do it without the guidelines. We're basically going to do the same thing. You can make it a different shape if you'd like. You can make it taller, shorter, fatter, skinnier, whatever you'd like. I'm just adding some leaves and some little curlies to the stem to give it some more character. Next, I figured we could do just a happy pumpkin face, which is pretty simple. It's just the arrows, I guess, and the mouth. Then I'm going to erase it just to lighten it up so the lines don't show through the painting. Now we'll go in with our bright orange color. If you want to make it even brighter, you can add some yellow to it. We're just going to fill in the whole base here. So that's what I like to do is just with art is just simplify it. So with your shapes, where are your big shapes? That's the first thing you need to find. Second, when you're painting, do the base colors first and then worry about the shadows and the highlights. And now use the yellow to fill the pumpkin's face to make it look like it's lit up. Now I'm going in with another layer of orange, but this one is optional. If you feel like your pumpkin is filled in enough, then you don't need to do that. Now I'm going in and painting the shadows of the ridges. Again, you want wet on pretty wet paper for this layer. Not completely soaking wet puddles, but a little damp. And then I'm going in and I'm outlining the pumpkin as well to start to give it more of a solid shape. Now we're going to paint the stem, so I took a green and I'm going to outline the stem and fill it in. So this is the base color. Then I'm putting its shadow color and kind of just outlining it as well. Then I added a little more, I think it was brown, to the bottom of the stem, or you can just layer it up with green and make it just a dark green. Now I'm going to go in with a really thin brush and try and do the outline for the pumpkin. This part was actually really satisfying when I was doing it. You can start to see the form of the pumpkin more, and compared to the one next to it, it looks more cartoony because it has those dark solid black outlines. Then I went in with a hairdryer to dry the stem and make sure that was completely dry, and the pumpkin, so I could go in with the leaves and not have it bleed into the rest of the painting. Then I'm going back in and darkening in those ridges to make them more defined. And there we have it. There is our second pumpkin. Very good for Halloween. Really good for kids to try, or if you're just trying to make a quick Halloween painting. Now we're going in the third one. Same thing, just getting the big shapes, then putting the details in. Triangles instead of the arrows, and then for the mouth I made the teeth really jagged and pointy as well. Pumpkins don't really have a perfect shape, I guess, so you can kind of experiment and do whatever you want, really. Then we went in with the next layer and we put the shadows of the ridges in. Then we're gonna just darken that up a little more and do the outline of the pumpkin. As you can see with this one, I'm kind of bleeding out of the lines a little bit, and you know what? That's okay. We don't need to be perfect. But I am going in and thickening up that bottom shadow to get it to look darker and give it a little bit more dimension. I still wanted to use bright, simple colors to give it that cartoony look, but I also wanted it to look a little grungier and darker. So again, you can use this for like a scary painting or something. Then I'm going in with a black and I'm just filling in those outlines that I put for the shadows. Then we're just gonna fill in the mouth. Oh yeah, another thing that I learned, there will be a point in every watercolor painting, at least for me, where you're just gonna hate it. Like one of the layers is just gonna look like shit. Push through that. I promise you, push through that. Like if you did the first layer and you're like, oh, this looks like shit, like keep going. I promise you, you will probably be able to fix it. As you can see, I'm darkening in the base color and I made the outlines fairly dark. The brown's gonna be our shadow color, but it is helping give a good shape to the pumpkin. Next, I'm going in with this green color. It is a foresty green color, tiny bit of blue. And for the pumpkins, the bottom, you're gonna wanna make kind of round or a little flat so it can look like it can stand up. So if yours is just looking like a giant circle, that might be why. Think of a watermelon shape, I guess. Like this one's very watermelon shaped. With a little indent for the stem and the ridges. I'm going in and just outlining everything, and now it's really starting to pop off the page. And there we have it. Our third pumpkin is complete. Again, it's great for really spooky, cartoony looking paintings. So bad news, my phone died while I was recording the first layer, but if you want to see what I did, just go back to the first pumpkin and look at the first layer on that, and it's exactly what I did. But now we're going in with the stem. So this one I'm using more of a teal color. So the idea with this pumpkin, I wanted to do something a little more artsy. Now I'm outlining in a dark green color, and I'm giving it these little curvy lines to give it more shape and to make it look more realistic and give you the illusion that it's twisting. Now I'm just using a white pen to give a little highlight to the pumpkins. I guess I decided to also add a shadow to the bottom one, but I used black instead. that's it. We have all 4 pumpkins complete. If you're still here, thank you so much. I hope you were able to learn a thing or two, or just have some fun, or just experiment with something new. Remember, watercolors are super frustrating, so don't get too discouraged. You might hate a layer, just push through it. And simplicity is key. Thank you for watching. Give me a like and a subscribe if you liked the video. I will definitely be making a lot more of these in the future. All my social medias are linked below, as well as my jewelry store. Bye.